Here on a Saturday. We're here with some very special guest guys. We're here with Pueblo Pro Choice. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Pretty
Thanks
good.
for having us.
Really good, really good. Of course, you guys are always welcome here. Let's get some introductions around so everyone could just know you guys. What's your name?
Jacqueline.
Jacqueline. What's your position in this?
I am a co-founder and president of Pueblo Pro Choice.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Sydney. I am the vice president and digital director, and I'm also a co-founder of Pueblo Pro Choice.
And hi, I'm Monica. I am a co-founder and the executive director of Pueblo Pro Choice.
When was how would you describe Pueblo Pro Choice in like a sentence? Do you guys have a I don't know what that's called, the slogan?
So we're all about reproductive justice, meaning that we want to make sure that everybody is getting equal opportunity, and they're getting the care that they want at the end of the day, especially in the communities that have more people of color, and where things go wrong in most circumstances. Like we see very high, maternal death rate when people aren't advocated for, and so that's what we're here. We're here to make sure that people are getting the health care that they want.
Also to make sure that people are willing to have babies in communities that are happy and healthy. So it's not just the choice of giving birth or not, but actually having a proper upbringing and the resources available to you, like food and childcare and housing.
Yeah, we do a lot with community involvement, reaching out to other organizations, like our domestic violence shelter in town, and really it's not just about whether you want to have a baby or not. It's about being involved in the community to help you make that choice. You're making the best choice for yourself and getting the care that you need.
We're also here to inform the community, about options like Plan B, like where they can get birth control, what providers will give them access to things like that, as well as providing Plan B and making sure that we are a resource that if people need help, we can come into and direct them to the people who can help them the best.
How old are you guys?
I am 33 or 34. I don't remember which one, honestly.
I had to think on that one.
Yeah.
I am 21.
And I'm 26.
How'd you guys all meet?
Through Facebook, I think essentially is how I found both of you guys, was through Pueblo Pro Choice, just because my career is also in repro. So coming to Pueblo, I was just like, where are the people who are already doing this work and how can we work together? But yeah, that's how we founded Pueblo Pro Choice. That is what brought the three of us together.
Yeah. After the overturn of Roe v. Wade, or also known as the Dobbs decision.
What does that mean? Dob.
So last year, the Supreme Court decided to overturn Dobbs, which was protecting our right to privacy, and that included our reproductive rights. That's what Roe v. Wade was under. And so when that overturned, that also made it so all of the states could then decide whether or not they were going to allow abortion, which is a fundamental human right, by the way, in those states. And so that's when we saw states start to ban or enshrine abortion into their constitutions. So Jacqueline started the group actually when we were hearing rumors, because it's been said for a very long time that would have happened. And everyone told everybody else not to panic. There's no way that could happen. There's no way that you could lose this fundamental right. And so when they started the first hearings, Jacqueline had really created the group and had brought us all together to begin outreach, and we did small protests. Pueblo Pro Choice, I think, is really just built off of a community coming together for the same value, which is choice.
So I'm sorry to cut you. I didn't mean to cut you off. Also, I noticed that the Dobb thing. Will you continue off what you were talking about with that?
Oh, it's after it was after the Supreme Court. It got leaked that they were looking into or overturning Roe v. Wade, and I was upset, like so many people, and I got on Facebook and I was looking for like a community that I could share my emotions with, and whether that be posting about it, spoken word, protest, and I really couldn't find anything for Pueblo. So I created the Facebook group Pueblo Pro Choice, and from there it's just that was a little over a year ago, and from there it's really taken off. We found each other and connected. Now we are a nonprofit, and we're just doing so much more with it.
How do you guys feel like the greater public community reacts to you guys? How do they treat you?
Honestly, we've been really well received down here. My organization that I work with is based out of Denver, so it's a question I get a lot is, how is it working in Pueblo? Like, how are you received? And we go to Chili Fest last year. That was like our big first tabling event. We were at Pueblo Pride, which we're always super well received at. And honestly, Chili Fest was so amazing. We had so much turnout. We got like 500 contacts in the city of Pueblo that we keep in touch with. We update. But honestly, it's amazing. We've been well received, especially during the ordinance work that we did was it December?
Yeah.
We stirred up the community, and we had so many supporters.
Any so you feel like Pueblo is more pro-choice than it is pro-life?
So statistically, Colorado voters over and over again vote for abortion rights. Colorado voters want access to abortion. So it's not a matter of if we're well received or not. Like statistically, Colorado voters do want abortion.
And that does reflect in Pueblo. It is the same percentages across the board. I think the only county in Colorado that didn't look like the rest of the state was El Paso County.
Interesting. What do you think it is about Colorado that makes us vote that way?
I think Colorado has always been kind of a hub in the West for people who, especially in Denver, we're a little more liberal, and the rest of us are out here with farmers, and we just want access. So what Denver gets, we eventually get. And I think that they have kind of set a pace, but I don't know. I think they need more outreach opportunities to get out to the smaller communities and help us. But I think when we have powerful communities like Pueblo that will demand the help that we want and need and deserve, I think we force them to listen to us.
That was evident during the ordinance too. We had so many people come out and stand outside of City Hall with us, and it was overwhelming the amount of support we had. And even just messages that we'd get, like, hey, I can't be there, but do you guys need something? What can I do to help? We get that question a lot from our community. People coming up, what can I do to be involved in this? What can I do to help?
I think also I want to add to you asking why Colorado is the way it is. I think we'll never know exactly why, but when people see other people taking care of their communities, it really draws more people like that to come here. And I think that's what we've seen over the last few years. Like when we protect people in our communities, people want to join those communities.
Yeah, that makes sense. How many people are in the Pueblo Pro Choice organization?
415 are on our Facebook group.
How many workers or people that are actually
So we
foot to
are
ground?
volunteer based right now, and we are always growing. We are helping and always looking for opportunities to help our volunteers advance in any way we can. So it's really the people from our group. They come, they ask us how they can be involved, and they come, they table with us, they provide water and snacks contacts and so much outreach. Even if they can't be there in person, they're emailing, they're calling, they're active on our social media. So I think that's what Monica means by like, it really is like a community. Although we're a nonprofit, I think we did that so we could have more opportunities and further the group, but it's still really just a community of people who want access and are pro-choice.
All right, respect. You guys have anything that I know you guys came here with the full plate of stuff. Pull out your phone and notes.
Oh,
I'm gonna just check my phone too. I got a message. I don't want to see if it's my parents or something.
Yeah, I love that. Text your mom that you love her.
Thanks.
So, you're 26 years old. I know in the work that I do, I face a lot of ageism, and I'm not ashamed to admit that people do that to me. I know Monica also faces a lot of ageism. Do you ever find that when you're in political spaces or doing forums?
I feel like I do it to myself. I'll like look at them and I look at myself and be like, wow, they're career politicians. They've been on city council, 2 terms. Like why am I here? But in reality, I shouldn't think like that. Obviously something's going not right.
Right.
So I think it's good to have younger people
I
in
agree.
that setting.
I was watching your mayoral debate with Forging Pueblo, and you made a really good point that like people want to see normal people be able to run for office. Like we don't always want to see people who are only affluent and have all of the resources provided to them. We do want to see our normal people be able to have more of a voice and amplify that voice, and I see that consistent messaging in everything you do.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's just like no one tells you how to run for anything. I feel they don't tell you on purpose. No one wants you to
and it is
change
so
anything.
Complicated, like because you have to do the announcement and then the interviews and all the paperwork, and it is a really complicated process to get involved in it. I know, like how you were saying, how you do it to yourself with the ageism. I found myself a lot in my head when I was running for being a female, just for being a female and running against men, and it was amplified more. It was very misogynistic towards me. And I think it's not just towards me, but towards any female running for office, they experience that. The men talk down to you. And then being a woman of color, especially, I would get in my head like imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, is this really what I should be doing? Am I qualified for this? And luckily I have an amazing support system, and they're always like, you got this. Like, you're doing this for a reason. You're doing it for the right reason. Unfortunately, I did have to drop out due to some family issues, and, my family's my priority.
Definitely.
But,
as it should.
yeah, it's a lot of emotional and mental work.
Absolutely. And nobody talks about the barriers. Like, if you can't make campaigning your full-time job, then you're still working a full-time job, and
I still am.
Raising kids. Like, that's such another barrier on top of, like, how can I go to these debates and do these interviews and work my full-time job and be fully engaged and do outreach and so, I'm really glad that you're out here speaking about it and that we're here talking to you about it.
I think like the age of going to them, obviously you can go to the Monday meetings. The same people are there every Monday. Like we need to change it up. We need like stuff like this. They want to come on here and talk, which is refreshing. You could say whatever you want here, and we're not gonna censor you. So this definitely plays a huge role in it. The podcast, the podcast and interviews and stuff.
Absolutely. And I think that's something like that we haven't seen a lot of politicians do yet, is like utilize social media and everything like influencers and whatnot. And we haven't seen a lot of these influencers come forward and want to run as politicians. And so that is very refreshing.
All of our current politicians are old. I was thinking of a better word to say, but
not Sarah Martinez. We love you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your hard
not
work.
all of them. But I think it is so good to see, younger people, Gen Z, millennials, running,
Mm-hmm.
because that's who's getting represented now. And it's so good to see. Like, I really love how much Gen Z has stepped up, and now they're outvoting boomers. And so it's so important, like, doing stuff like this, because that's what reaches them.
Mm-hmm.
And having politicians that do their own social media is a new thing too, and it kind of gives you that insight of who they are more of a person instead of a curated image that they paid someone to create.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like thousands of hours of us having conversations that are like probably not good.
Like, I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah. But
saw a few of those.
yeah, but like I've been questioned about it. Everyone I could be serious. We could have a real conversation, and then we can make some jokes on the same couches. Like we're multi-leveled human beings, as everyone is. It's like there's no reason to get bogged down.
Yeah.
On
Or
a
like onions.
yeah. I don't like
Do
onions.
explain that?
It's a Shrek reference. If you
Never
don't get
seen
it, go
Shrek?
watch Shrek.
Yeah.
I just try not to keep it in my mind.
I love Shrek.
So, by August 8th, you need to get 200 signatures on a petition so you can get on the ballot.
Yeah.
How is that going? Today is the 29th of June or July.
I thought I don't have that paper. They don't. Wait a minute. Am I messed up on my dates right now? I thought I got that paper on August 8th. It's due on August 8th?
I watched your mayoral video where you announced, and that's what you read, that it was like
I thought that
due
was
a couple days after the 8th.
Yeah, you get it at the 8th, and it's due in 2 weeks after the 8th.
Okay.
Is what I construed. I have to.
Yeah.
You're
Give
making
him a
me-
panic attack.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan of action for that?
Oh yeah, 200 signatures. Yeah, I'll get that easily. Just with outreach that the podcast does, pretty involved in like community events. We'll get that in.
Do you plan on door knocking?
Yeah, definitely. I've been contacted by a few other organizations, and they're totally willing to help me. I'm new at all this. It seems like they have a little bit more experience doing this. So yeah, I'm really willing to do whatever it takes. I know that we just have to get them to know that someone younger is running, someone that wants to change, someone that wants to help the community, and they'll be interested. It's just getting that ear.
Mm-hmm.
Name recognition.
But yeah, you scared me.
You should be on it. You gotta be on it.
We can't like start beforehand,
That's true.
Yeah.
so, but we'll get it in a day or two.
That's exciting.
Pretty positive.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Wow.
The planning is the most important part,
I think what I've been doing, I guess, to campaign is recently bought some a PA system, going out to public events and kind of just sitting there for hours and hours,
Yeah.
and like making it fun, but also there's the people that will be serious and have a 40-minute conversation with you.
Mhm.
So like it's a good mix.
And did you buy that out of your own pocket?
It's
Wow.
not expensive. Yeah, it was like $100, something like $100.
Campaigns aren't cheap.
Yeah, they're not, but if you're campaigning physically, like you're wasting a lot of money. That's kind of not being seen. I think it's probably all more digital now. Yeah, but
So I think digital, and then again canvassing, knocking on doors, especially. Well, you're running for mayor, so that's citywide. So you got to hit like all the districts, and it's such a process, and it can be kind of scary, knocking on someone's door. But I think it's so important to do that, and you're gonna have those tough conversations. You knock on someone's door, and they are completely against everything that you're saying, and you just got to be ready.
We were pretty fresh to the industry too when we decided to help Jacqueline run. So I really resonate with trying to find other organizations and more experienced people that are going to help us out. It makes everything a little more attainable, and I'm glad that we have some of the organizations we do that are actively looking for young people to help run.
Young teachers, I've noticed, are really invigorated. They want to. I don't know. maybe because they see the youth every day. But I've had a lot of like just young female teachers that want to help.
Yeah. I think they see the brunt of it too. It's like Colorado's 49th in funding for our public school system.
Oh wow.
And I think that is where you see a lot of the heartache and the hardships that kids are facing that they really shouldn't be facing in the society that we live in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the struggles with hunger and like some kids, that's the only interaction they get. Sometimes their teacher is the most positive influence in their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a sad reality.
And I think it's a really scary time for teachers as well, especially when we're seeing like proposals for having like school lunches not be free for people. Like I have met and have had so many people in my life who only got that one meal a day, and that was what they were banking on as children. And so I don't think, like what Monica said, I think they really see like the brunt of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're super underpaid.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, those both true points. What else you got in that phone? Give me a crazy one. Let's go crazy.
Only 4
Going
pages.
wild.
It's all right.
You have
But
4
we're kind
pages.
of going in chronological order. So
Okay.
like from your announcement up until like recent, if that helps.
I like that. Was this like in a night's time, or were you like planning this?
She did it last night.
This is just
Oh, wow.
kind of what I yeah.
Yeah, this is what Sydney's good at.
Sydney does.
Wow.
Um.
She's-
Okay. So in your announcement, you also said the biggest thing you're going to run on is getting the youth involved. And you said that in Pueblo, growing up in Pueblo, you've also got to tackle crime and drug use. What have you
And
seen
homelessness.
growing up in Pueblo that makes you really want to tackle these issues? And do you have any plan of action for those?
Yeah, I mean, growing up here, you're lying if you're saying like crime and homelessness hasn't got worse, but it's gotten worse all over the country. But so we're not rare in that. But yeah, my plan would be, I've been talking to, I'm not actually sure his job title. He lives in Texas, but he does homeless activism. He gathers them and gets their information. It's kind of, the whole point is it doesn't do you any good to have random homeless people out there. You need to know their names, somewhat location where they're going to be, have some point of contact, because a random face out there is not helping anyone. Like we need to separate them by category. Like, oh, they want help, they don't want help, they're addicted to something. What are they doing? Like, how have
Right.
steps, a list,
Like
a system.
a
basically.
bit of humanizing them, giving them like
I think just having a list of these people, because who are these people?
Right.
I've
Like there's somebody.
yeah.
Right. When you did your interview with Counselor Maestri, you said a lot about how there are a lack of resources for homeless people, and that's a huge issue that we have to tackle, and that we create unnecessary barriers almost. Like you need to have the paperwork, you need to have a phone, you need to have all of these things to be able to even just begin to get a leg up, and I really just wanted to emphasize that. That was a fantastic point.
Yeah, I don't know if she saw that point. I don't remember, but she was. I'm sure you guys have some words about her.
Oh,
We have opinions.
yeah.
We'll get into that later.
I'm sure she knows them already. So
have you seen the memes we've made?
Oh my god.
No, I haven't. Are they-
No.
We could pull them up. We could.
No.
We got
Join the
internet.
group. Answer our questions. Join the group.
Yeah.
Find
Cool.
out.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, homeless. It's a 3-part problem. You can't tackle one without tackling all 3.
I love that. It is very intersectional, because if people don't have resources, then they're more inclined to steal for the things that are basic necessities. So I absolutely agree with that point. All right, what do you think? You want to move to my next?
Yeah, I mean, whatever you got. Like,
Okay, so I have to ask you about your interview with the chieftain.
oh man, they butchered me.
Why?
They're- What?
Why do you say that? And what points did you make in the interview do you not think that got into like the actual publication?
The very first thing that comes to my mind, the last sentence, she asked me, her name was Annalyn Winfrey or some shit like that. Shout out you, Annalyn. I know you're out of a job. If you want to work for Street Chimes, offering you a job right now to write news for us.
Or come work with me, Annalyn. I love you.
Yeah, but she asked me, "Are you gonna smoke weed she asked me if I want to have the other candidates here for a debate because I'm gonna set up some debates, and she was like, "Are you gonna smoke weed with them in the room?" I was like, "Yeah, it's my house." And then the way she worded it in the thing was like, he said he's gonna pass them a joint, or like he said that he's gonna be in rotation with them or some shit, like pass them a joint. Like she like worded it where I was like gonna like I'm kind of an idiot, I think.
So do you think like that's maybe like a part of maybe some ageism that you face? Like in
She was
that
younger
way?
than me.
But still, I mean, I do have to ask that. But I do want to ask you about your response video. That was not my point of that question. I wanted your first thoughts.
But you know, I think she was doing her job. I was front page. I was on the front page of the newspaper. Like she was doing her job. She got a spicy headline. If you read the headline, it was like, I have it hung up right there actually. YouTube. The online headline was way crazier. It was like YouTube streamer announces candidacy while smoking blunt on live stream.
But it's kind of iconic. Like I really heard about it from friend groups who didn't even like follow politics, and so maybe all press is good press sometimes.
I think, from my personal experience with Annalyn, she knows how to grab attention.
Yeah, she did her
And
job.
that's what you want to do. I mean, I loved my articles, both my announcement article and my exit article. I thought, you know, I'm a very open person. I lay everything out on the table, and I don't think she spun it either for me or against me. She just said exactly what I said, and it came out. I loved them.
Yeah,
I thought they were very nice.
we are Annalyn fans.
Yeah.
That's fair.
She did a great coverage of our pro-choice rally for the Bigger Than Real event we did back in January.
That's fair. And I could, you know, I spoke to Annalyn a little bit before we started the whole thing. Like she's a nice person. She did her job, like you said. But I think it was more salacious than it made me look kind of like a fool, I think. But you know, I have it hung up in my house. It's hilarious. Pueblo Chieftain is no longer, so
It grabbed a lot of attention.
it's a relic.
I did hate the picture that they used of me.
Really.
I will say that.
Do you think your response to the article was harsh in any way at all?
No, I think I was right. I said Pueblo Chieftain's not going to last 6 months, and it didn't. I saw a future. I said that in the video. So like, it's a dying media. If you're writing on a newspaper, like this is getting more views than them at this point.
Yeah.
I think when they got bought out, that also kind of killed their Pueblo love.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
not-
I'm sorry.
I would say it wasn't local anymore, and Pueblo was such a proud city, especially like local businesses. So having a big corporation come in and buy out the Chieftain, which has been around for years, I think that they lost a lot of business doing that.
It didn't feel good.
No.
That's one thing Pueblo never responds well to.
Right. We really appreciate, I think, all of our local businesses here. I think that's something we hold proud in Pueblo, as well as our unions. And so
We're a small town with a big population.
we have small town mentality
Yeah.
for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like that. But yeah, was it harsh? My video back to her. Do you think it was harsh?
I think it was. Are you gonna? Can I really tell you?
You can say whatever you want on the show.
I think I would have maybe not the best first reaction either, and you're live, and that's sometimes very difficult. Like as an influencer, like all aspects of your life, you're showing to others, and so. But it probably could have done without some of like the misogyny in the beginning.
What did I say that was misogynistic? Oh, damn, she has a quote.
I'm not gonna quote all.
No,
of
read
it
the quote. Read the quote.
because I don't agree. I don't agree with you.
Can I
for
read it?
saying- Well, okay, because I do want to make a point real quick. So in the first video before you saw the article, you said an interesting thing that happened. The reporter was 23. That was pretty chill. And then once you saw the article, I noticed that then it kind of changed to this reporter wrote this stupid ass story about me saying that, and then you didn't finish that, and then you said, I want to say that I'm kind of disappointed in how the whole story came together, which is not
That's
anything
valid.
bad.
You're allowed to have feelings.
But then you said, this girl interviews me, this bitch. And then you said that, like, some very not
You
so nice
attacked her
things.
character.
And her
Yeah, and her
appearance.
looks and her appearance.
Oh, okay. I did do that. You know, I was, you know, all right. That was harsh. That part was harsh.
And I think that's something that men do that they need to learn is not okay. Like, if you don't like a woman, don't come after their appearance, because that just makes you look shallow. Not that I'm saying you are shallow. I'm just saying that is what it looks like when you do that.
And
I was heated as
yeah,
I was pretty
you're
heated too.
You have
exactly. And you know, a big thing I've been practicing, especially like only because I'm 21, but in the last couple of years, is like not reacting on my first thought, because there's so many things that I think about doing and saying before I actually like decide that that's not the right thing to do or say. And so like just sitting for a second, and that's I guess my only advice to you.
Yeah.
Just make sure that
You're right. You're totally right on that one.
And
I shouldn't have said that, but
It hurts. Like, I had comments, people, like I said, I did not like that picture they used to me. I had comments, people attacking my look, calling me fat. Oh, looks like she must have missed her abortion date. And it got to me. Like, it made me upset that people came after my appearance, because I think everyone is vulnerable when it comes to how you look. Everyone looks in the mirror and sees something wrong. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. And then when you specifically go after and attack someone for their appearance and, you know, just those little things, it hurts.
Yeah.
I think you owe Anna Lynn an apology.
I do. But you know, and I'm not justifying my actions. I was being an asshole when saying that. It was in the heat of the moment of the story that was written about me, and I thought that she the way she put my character out there for the entire city to read just kind of made me look foolish, and I felt like I was the butt of the joke for the
and we
for the
don't
day.
disagree with like your first reaction. Like when you said like I'm disappointed with the outcome, like that was very real, and you're very valid to feel all of those things, you know, right in the moment. But maybe something shouldn't be online.
Yeah, that's fair. And if she wants to, I've invited her multiple times to come back on the podcast and have this conversation with me, but she ignores me.
Yeah, well, here's your opportunity. We're live right
Well,
now.
yeah, I mean, she knows where I live. You can come pull up right now. We could do, actually. I'm doing an interview after this, but after that one.
Okay, we'll go on a less heated topic.
No, I mean we can keep going. I like it. I like that you like have the quotes.
Yeah. So you did a Street Champs versus Pueblo City Council, where you said that you invited all of them to come join you, but Regina was the only one who took up your offer. And
It wasn't necessarily like I didn't have contact like now I have like their phone numbers and stuff, so like it wasn't as clear
right
back then, but now that I didn't.
And I did
have
see
a
her
personal
ask to come on the comments as well. So like that was a good way probably for you to connect, and then you were more aware. But in a couple of the things you've done, you've said that you want more of a police presence. I'd just like to know why and more about that.
I think in the nightlife scene in particular, because people are getting shot every single night at every single bar here. So like if you go to Springs or Denver at 2 in the morning, there's 4 cops like on the busy main street where all the bars are. There's 4 cops right there, no matter what, just touring. So, and it's not, we don't even have the cops to do that realistically right now. We're down like 50 spots or whatever. That's why they're offering the sign-on bonuses. But really in the nightlife, because we can make Pueblo like an event city. You know, we have that brand new amphitheater coming to Springs. It's gonna bring millions and millions of dollars. They're gonna bring huge artists out there. Like that's a 30-minute drive from here. They could get lunch here at the Riverwalk and go back up to their concert. Like, but they're scared because they Google us and they see everything and they're like, oh, maybe we'll just stay in Springs.
Yeah.
So I'm nightlife for sure.
Okay. And what about like the people? And we have a large like people of color population here in Pueblo, but like what about the people who are unsafe, maybe around certain police officers or just police officers in general?
I think that's when the community outreach comes into play. Like, we need to know who's policing us. Let's start introducing these police officers to the high school, middle school, high school, and then to the greater public, they have that police like festival right over here on that park. I don't want to say exactly where it is, but this park over here, by the 7-Eleven. So like they're trying to do the community outreach and make their faces known, because you're going to be less scared of like, oh, that's Tom. I've spoken to Tom, but now he's pulling me over. So, but you're going to have like kind of like a relationship built with him. So that'll help with the fear and stuff.
And while I wish, like, I truly could agree with, like, that, there are so many circumstances where there are black police officers who are police officers, but when they're not in uniform, they're killed by their own, and circumstances like that. I was a Black Lives Matter organizer before this, and I did a lot of work around and just advocacy with the Indigenous community here and many others, and with holding the police accountable, especially like in 2020. And reading some of the stories, you really question, like, none of this was justified. What gives somebody the right to be a judge, a jury, and an executioner?
I think it's an education, like the police officers are same age, and like I couldn't imagine trying to protect everyone in this room, because like that's what they have to do. They're to be the first ones up, first ones out there. So it's like a mental thing too. You have to train them so they can like fight their emotions and their fight or flight response. It's not one clear answer, and it's never going to be. And there's the anomalies. People are crazy. Crazy people want guns. So like there's gonna be crazy people that want to become a police officer just so they can do bad shit. We have to like weed out these people through mental evaluations, tests, and it's going to take time.
And better police training.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you think the police should go through diversity, equity, and inclusion training?
Of course, yeah. Everyone should go through that. Every single job. You'd just be a easier person to talk to.
Yeah. We were at a city council meeting where one of the police unions came in because they were talking about the shortage of police officers here in Pueblo. They're saying that, one of the things they needed was a raise. And they're saying that the reason they need a raise and they can't get more police officers is because morale is low and that management doesn't treat them well. And so, I saw Counselor Winter was like, maybe the first step to treating this is better management. Like, maybe more money will only help for a little bit if they continue to leave, but if we have better management, maybe that will be something that would help. Also, we've seen success, like, especially in Colorado, with like things like the STAR program, where they come in and they take some of the load off of the police force, and they go and they help people who are in mental health crises and whatnot. Do you think programs like that should be put in place?
Yeah, definitely. Don't send a police officer out there first. Send someone that can mediate the situation, get them the help they need, because not everything is. A police officer is just going to escalate it most of the time, just by their presence. Like you said, it's just social stigma right now.
Right.
Like everyone hates police officers. And it's been happening, obviously, since the Black Lives Matter, like George Floyd stuff really, really spun into action for like the social media age. But it's like no one wants to be a cop, like you said, because everyone hates cops. It's like a fact.
Right.
It's the same thing about politicians, and here we are.
Yeah, I wouldn't even, you guys kept calling me a politician. I wasn't going to say anything, like, I don't know if I'm a politician. I think I'm just like, I'm a citizen.
Feeling.
I'm a citizen, wanting to make a difference.
How can we see these comments bigger?
If we usually have a computer guy. Let me see if I could pull him up over here. Oh, his mouse is dead. Oh, wait. The heck? Oh, there we go.
Speaking of misogynistic people. Yeah, I called him out.
Who is it?
Oh.
I can't see that far.
I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull up the comments right now.
I get bad service in here.
Oh, cute.
Just because I did say that, I do want to explain myself with that. He was someone I was running against, and on my article, my announcement article, spammed it with his campaign stuff. But he didn't do that to any of the male who were running.
We saw
just
a lot
mine.
of that.
And yeah, it was.
They would pile on
They would-
collectively
even
on
if they were
Jacqueline.
like Democratic or running differently, we saw them come together to attack the only other, or I know the only woman running, which is almost concerning. It was like
Like the other candidates?
Yes.
For city council?
even if they
The ones
had
running for
different
city
political
council.
affiliations, like we saw them. That was the one thing they could come together on was
Trying
tearing
to tear
somebody.
down the one woman
Yeah.
of color running.
Yeah, that's not... This guy?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Well, one of them.
Yeah, one of them.
No, yeah, Potato Jones up there is cool.
Love that.
What's up, Potato
He
Jones?
does our computer.
You're
Damn. Yeah, no, we'll bring it back to the misogynistic points and the ones that you said that's fair. Those were not, I shouldn't have said those things.
But your anger
I'm not
was
that person.
valid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not that person to talk to anyone with disrespect.
Yeah, I'm not telling you can't feel. Like, please don't take away for, like, that. Like, it's perfectly okay to share, like, emotions. But, like, I did just want to, like, flag that and make sure it didn't go, especially, like, who we are as an organization. Like, no way we could have came on here and, like, not said something
Yeah.
if we deep dive.
Yeah, it'd be fake. I appreciate that you called me out on it.
Yeah.
We wanted to actually have a very meaningful conversation with you, Deryk.
Yeah.
But next time, I want to put a, like, menstrual cramp simulator on you, and then we ask the question.
Oh, let's do it this Friday. This upcoming Friday.
I don't know if it'll come Friday.
Damn.
Let's do it like next week. though.
Next Friday.
Okay.
I'm down.
Bet.
We'll do it on live.
Confirmed.
Love that. What did you think of the people who wanted to revert the city back to a city manager, city council type of
W-
thing?
The lore I've heard is the woman heading that group wanted to change that, ran for mayor, lost, and was kind of upset.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
So what we can tell you, like, factually, is that we saw this spark after Mayor Gradishar said that if the ordinance went through, he would veto it. And so that's when I think it might have not been everything, but that was definitely, like, a component to it.
And that was the abortion ban ordinance.
Right.
Oh yeah, Regina spoke on that.
And then the way a city manager works is they make more money. Pueblo used to work like that in the past, and in 2018, Pueblo voted to have a mayor system. So we are currently under what the citizens voted for. To try to undo that would be undoing what the people wanted, like not listening to the community. But city managers get paid more, and they often have severance packages that last for years, whereas mayors, when they're done, like, they don't have any of those things. It's just done. And so those are, like, some, like, key differences. We did post a thing about it on our social medias at Pueblo Pro Choice, like, if you did want to go check it out deeper. But
Yeah, I definitely will. And everyone go follow and like their page.
hi, Jackson.
But yeah, I'm not opposed to learning new facts and new information. You know, maybe a city manager is right for some things and a mayor is right for some things, and maybe neither of those is right. We come up with something new. Like, these conversations should be had.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think the other thing you have to consider is that city council chooses the city manager.
Yes,
right.
I've
They're
heard
not
that.
voted in, and so we would have no say over who, and we would have no firing power either. Where there'd be no way we could remove a city manager, and so I don't think that's, like, listening to the people.
We should be listened to. We are the constituents.
Yeah.
You know, that's their job as politicians, is to get up and listen to what their community has to say, and maybe not get up and walk out during city council meetings when people are doing their public testimony.
Who did that?
Most. Watch it. Go to a city council meeting. It happens every week.
Wow.
Yeah. I really like your thoughts on the Columbus statue when you were speaking with Regina, and how you held strong in those points, especially, like, based on your heritage, how you wouldn't enjoy seeing something that meant, like, such awful things in your day-to-day life. And she kind of critiqued one of the current city councilors on his involvement, which I find odd because he is Indigenous. So it is his fight 100%. But I'd like you to speak more about, like, just what you think of the whole Columbus thing. Like, if we did want to get it taken down or relocated, would you be in support of that?
Honestly, I think we have bigger issues than this statue. Like, personally, like you were talking about the societal, like, feelings towards police officers and people of color. Like, a statue, like, let's get rid of it, like, or let's not. Like, I don't understand,
Yeah.
why it's a bigger deal than it is. Obviously, the years and years of pain that Christopher Columbus, did to the indigenous people of this nation. But as a city, like, I know for a fact we can think of 100 better things we can put time, effort, money towards.
I agree to an extent. Yeah, there are 100 different things, that we could put the time and money towards, but there's been such a big outcry from the community. This is what the community wants.
Yeah, let's get rid of it.
And so as an elected official, you have to listen to your community. You have to listen to the constituents. And they are at city council almost every meeting saying...
For years.
Yeah, for years. And the protests down there are huge. I mean, if you want to be elected official, you have to listen to the constituents. And that's what your constituents are saying, is that they want it gone. And as someone who is Indigenous, of Native American descent from this area, even I had my ancestry thing done. It's really cool. But I hate seeing that statue. It's just a reminder of all the oppression and death that my ancestors had to go through. And I would love to see it taken down.
And it really stands as a symbol that, like, white supremacy isn't going anywhere. When we can't do something as simple as just removing a statue that harms members of our community, when it represents such awful values, we're really saying that, like, we really are standing in our white supremacist values in this town. And that's what, I don't think anybody wants to see that.
Yeah, I agree. I just had this thought. Let's get rid of the statue. Let's put a fruit tree right there. Help everyone.
Or even
fresh
relocate
apples.
it. Like, I know it's an ongoing issue, and I was there in the beginning, but, like, if the Italians value the statue, then locate it to a place where they visit, But maybe it's not so public that it can harm everybody.
Put it in the Pueblo Museum.
Yeah.
Have a conversation about it.
Also, a Pueblo organizer, her name was Rita Martinez. She was a fantastic activist and one of the people who really mentored me in the beginning of my activism journey. But she worked really hard to get Christopher Columbus Day changed to Indigenous Peoples Day. Like, she was really, and that comes, that's Pueblo. Like, it's huge. And so we are also we are the last town in Colorado to have a statue of a racist historical figure, and one of the last 3 in the whole country. So again, why would we say, when we want more people to come, when we try to attract more people here, we want people to come work, why would that be something that we would want to represent?
Yeah, you're totally valid. Yeah, it's conflated to something. It doesn't have to be this huge thing.
Right.
You could, like you said, listen to the people. People don't want it.
Yeah, like, relocate it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of, like, seeing regular people run for these positions is if we don't feel heard, we're never going to step into a political space. And it's important to make sure that the everyday people in our community do feel validated and heard.
Yeah, I agree. Do you guys mind if I start this?
Please. Go ahead. Literally.
I'm going to preface this with I have asthma, I'm a cough, and I'm sorry.
He's all cough away from the microphone. I really did like your point, though, when you were originally talking about the statue with Regina, how you asked her, like, do you think it's okay then to have statues of Robert E. Lee and other, like, historical figures? Because that really was kind of like it was kind of woke. Like, it was kind of like the perfect response to something like that without being controversial, because that's exactly how people need to see it. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not only coming for you. I do have compliments.
Thank you.
mixed into
I'm enjoying this.
Oh.
You guys got to come talk on the regular shows, like when everyone's here.
Yeah.
You guys have like, you guys got to tell this to them, and they'll have different thoughts.
Right.
Well, you'd appreciate it. We love having the conversation. We love getting involved. And, like, hell, come table with us sometime.
Yes.
I was at the hip hop fest too.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
nice.
Oh, I was thinking.
We're
what was
handing
I
out
saying?
free Plan B at the hip hop.
Oh, that's sick.
Okay.
What? That's cool.
And free condoms. Oh.
Dang, that's cool. Oh, that's fine. You can just.
Well, okay.
Yeah, we were handing them out at Sareth Fest too, and I think both times we ran out.
Yeah.
Damn.
And we will be at Pride. So,
That's
like,
cool. I'll
come
be at
get-
Pride too. With,
come get some Plan B. You gotta be a volunteer because you're a candidate, but...
oh no, I have I'm gonna do a table for Street Champs.
Oh, nice.
nice.
Yeah. It's like a vendor booth.
Dude.
Yeah, but like not selling anything. We don't have anything to sell. We just like give away stuff. But yeah, so it's interesting we haven't crossed paths there.
It is interesting that we haven't seen each other, but we don't always have enough time to get away from our table.
Same.
Literally.
Like, it's a pretty hot topic, and so people are like, oh my god, you're here, you have free Plan B, you have condoms, how do I help?
Literally. They're like, look at these stickers. I almost brought you a sticker today. I forgot
I
it.
could
Yeah.
get you some stickers.
I would love it. I have a gumball machine. I'm gonna put all the stickers on
Dope.
Nice.
Where?
in the bathroom. Well, next to the bathroom.
Oh,
Oh, I was like, you
I
have
was
a
like,
gumball
what?
You don't eat the
machine
gumballs.
in your
You don't eat the
bathroom?
gumballs. You'd be crazy if you ate that gumball.
Why?
It's been in there for like a year.
Oh my god. You should put some edibles in it.
That'd be sick.
That'd be really
It doesn't
cool.
work though. It like turns it. You like crunches your gumball up, and you like get like this chewed up piece of.
Well, then put like
Pre-chewed.
gummies
Yeah.
in it though, maybe.
I don't know, the gummies might just make it sticky.
Oh,
Gummies
God.
would
Just
melt
melt
with
in
this
there.
heat wave that we're having.
Put it in the fridge. I don't know.
Refrigerated gumball machine with edibles.
That's hilarious. What else you got?
There are some things we wanted to clear up from your interview with Regina, because you definitely didn't get all of the information. So first, you asked her how or somebody on the chat actually asked her how she met Mark Lee Dixon. We would like to talk about the ordinance. We'd like to talk about what it actually meant, because there were so many misconceptions and people still don't understand completely what happened, I think.
Can you clarify for the chat who Mark is?
Yes, Mark Lee Dixon is an anti-abortion activist who resides in Texas. Sorry, I'm trying to think of like appropriate nice things that are like appropriate.
Say whatever.
He was brought here to Pueblo by a group called Forging Pueblo.
Oh.
And worked with Counselor Maestri to put together an anti-abortion ordinance. Now, when she says things like, you know, I just want to protect women, what this ordinance did was it pretty much made it so that nobody could get the medical supplies that would be used for an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that also, like, there's no such thing as, like, medical supplies that are simply used for an abortion. Like, they're things that doctors use every single day. So when that ordinance happened, we saw even Parkview and St. Mary Corwin come together to make a statement on how this would hurt the community, and even people who wanted to continue pregnancy, and how it would have a detrimental effect and they would lose doctors.
Oh wow.
You're right. It wasn't she just wanted to protect women. She wanted to make it so you couldn't get an abortion within the city limits of Pueblo.
Yeah, I was later informed of the tool fact that you told me, because, you know, I'm sure as a lot of male viewers, we're just not informed on stuff like that. Like, in reality, like, up until now, I wasn't doing, you know, research on stuff like this. People weren't coming up and telling me, you know, facts like this. So
And honestly, it's not the municipal government's job to decide at all. And when the ordinance happened, that was Heather Graham's point. Like, everyone's so mad that they didn't allow public comment, but there was no reason to allow public comment because our municipal government had no say regardless because Colorado passed the Reproductive Health Equity Act, which protects abortion access.
Mm-hmm.
So they would have been going against Colorado state laws and been sued by the state attorney.
Yeah. Yeah, as you said, Colorado has voted time and time again for abortion. So, give people what they want. But what was also brought up in that conversation? I'm sure you have it. Was the doctor
Mm-hmm.
that wanted to move to Pueblo to perform these post-birth abortions?
Yes, 8 month, 9. I heard the conversation.
Yeah, she told me that the doctor is on film saying that he'd rather the baby be born because it's easier to abort it. Allegedly, I'm pretty sure that's what was said.
She fed you a horrible amount of misinformation.
Right.
I don't know if she low-key, like, I'm not sure. I heard that somewhere. I don't even want to put it in her mouth, but
okay.
Yeah.
But that was just something you heard. So we aren't here to speak for the clinic in any capacity, so we are not going to do that. But what we do know is that is just wildly untrue. Point blank period. She also said, like, she described, like, how inaccessible it is to be able to have an abortion, and she described what they call an abortion fund very wrong. She made it seem almost unattainable when often most abortion funds don't look at how much money you make or where you live or anything like that. They just want to help you get access. It's almost like fear mongering we hear a lot from the anti-abortion side of things, made to scare people. But at the end of the day, there's abortion pills and there's the surgical procedure, but abortion pills, it's a pill regimen, and it's safer than Tylenol and oral surgery and so many other things. Yeah.
Yeah, like, there's a lawsuit happening right now for the FDA approval of mifepristone, which is the first...
Will you just pull that mic a little bit closer to you?
Yeah, sorry. Which is the first pill in the medication abortion process, and it has been safe and effective for like the last 20 plus years, and it's the first time anyone has ever tried to go after the FDA approval of a medication. So it's like uncharted territory, and it's a continuous attack that we see from like the same groups that come through these municipalities are going to a federal level trying to attack abortion on all sides.
Mm-hmm. Right. So when you talk about Mark Lee Dixon, like, that's what he does. He goes to small towns. He finds the counselors that support anti-abortion views, and then each passes ordinances in each town trying to slowly outlaw abortion, which is unrealistic, and it's so harmful. He's also a self-proclaimed virgin, and I'm going to say this, but, like, you have no right to be in anybody else's reproductive organs making any kind of say, even if you weren't a virgin.
Especially when he's going through smaller communities like ours. Like, Pueblo is a hub of resources for the entire southern Colorado area.
That's
what I was looking for, yeah.
People who drive from Alamosa and Salida and like a lot of the valley that come and get their help here, and if you're to ban that access here, you're screwing half the state.
Yeah.
And we are here to help expand access. That's all we want, is to give people safe, healthy options.
Is it burning on the couch?
No.
Thank God. These couches have been through the ringer. But yeah, you guys are right. Yeah, the 9 month thing was like really shocking.
That's not true.
And that's how it's
that's
supposed to be, like, shocking, like jarring,
Mm-hmm.
like make you want to resent it and not learn about it and not be educated.
They go for the heartstrings.
But it's really a ripple effect, like what we're seeing in Texas now. People who want to continue their pregnancies and things go wrong are now unable to reproduce at all and almost ending up dead and septic because they can't receive what would be considered abortion care, but it's a fundamental human right. And so Um, it's wild. It's insane.
And then the doctors are scared to perform any sort of help for these people. Like, they have to wait until they are almost on death's door before they can say, okay, I can give you this care or this care. But at that point, the doctors could still be sued.
Imagine having an emergency, like, let's say you cut open your femoral artery and you go to the emergency room and your doctor tells you, I really want to help you, but I need to call my lawyer first to see if that's okay.
Right.
Like, that should not be happening.
Or like, I really want to help you, but I can't until you're almost dead. Like,
yeah.
And then it's so far gone that women are losing their reproductive abilities and they are losing their lives. And it's not okay. It is making things less accessible, and we are harming people. And
but we're also seeing, as an outcome of this, a growing consensus that we need abortion care. Like, it really is, even in places you wouldn't expect. Like, we're seeing so many people come forward like, hey, we don't want our community dying.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I've always been pro-choice. You know, it's never ever my place to tell a woman what to do with her body. Like, I've known that since like a young child. So I don't really understand like the whole like thinking. I don't know where it's.
It's
where they
really
want
hard.
that.
Our generation doesn't agree. One of my favorite things about tabling, especially in our community, is the amount of young people. I mean, like, I do want to say we are learning from our OGs every day. Like, we're continuing the work that they did. And so we're always talking to them. But it's so refreshing to see young people come up so excited to get, like, a fuck abortion ban sticker.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they're so intent. And at this point, we are outvoting the boomers. And so it is really important that we continue to educate our generation so they can make informed decisions when voting, when getting reproductive health care, all of those things, when receiving gender affirming care, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that educating is so important because there is so much misinformation out there, especially from crisis pregnancy centers, a lot of anti-choice groups. They try to do that shock value like we talked about, telling you that we're aborting babies after birth, whatever. It's simply not happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's something they use. It's a shock tactic. It's fear tactics. You know, having the big billboards up showing you what they say is a 9-week fetus. And it's not.
And it's white. Like, they could have used a regular ultrasound, but they photoshopped it to be a white fetus. You can't see color in the womb. You know what I mean? So, like, the misinformation goes so far. Like, some people don't even realize, like, how far it goes.
And that's something that's happening a lot, too, with the restriction of resources in other states. So many birthing people are coming to Colorado and seeking resources, and they end up, I call them anti-pregnancy centers, or
Anti-choice.
Anti-abortion centers,
Yeah.
excuse me. They're not even pregnancy resource centers, really, but...
We'll explain it all.
Yeah, we'll get through that. But,
I'm sorry. I have to text this. I was gonna interview this band at 3:30. I'm gonna text them and tell them, hey, let's push it back to 4,
Okay.
just so we can get this whole thing.
Yeah, but they'll come to places like Pueblo and end up at like a crisis pregnancy center instead of an abortion clinic, and it further delays them getting access because you go online. For a long time you looked up abortion on Google in Pueblo, and the first thing that came up was the local crisis pregnancy center.
So an anti-abortion center is a center that doesn't have anybody who actually practices medicine. They use one doctor's like certificate, and then they make multiple clinics. Like, it is fairly concerning. But they often say, like, we'll give you a free ultrasound, we'll give you free pregnancy tests. Like, yes, we do provide abortion care, but once you're there, they sit you down and they're like, well, you need to watch this political propaganda, or they make you watch like anti-abortion videos, and try to persuade you out of your decision oftentimes.
While they have you hold this little baby figurine in your hand, and then they make you watch this, and that's like, it's like they're shaming people.
Yeah.
like shaming them into continuing their pregnancy. If that's something they want to do, then by all means, get the resources, go through with it. I had 2 kids, you know, but if it's their choice whether they want to continue it or not, and what they do is harmful to the community.
And I've never been somewhere where a medical professional or a claimed medical professional tries to persuade me one way or another on the care that they're giving me. They usually just tell me what the best option for me is, and if I don't like that option, they give me another one.
Yeah, that's a great point. It makes sense though. The scaring tactics, you know, make it tangible. Yeah, abortions. That propaganda has been ran through like thousands of years of stuff. So like it's people, they've got it. Like,
just since
down.
the 60s, actually, like the whole anti-abortion thing really wasn't a thing until the evangelicals realized that they could convince their people to vote for Reagan if they had an agenda. And so if you watch the documentaries, you really see, we all hate Reagan. I need a shirt. But you really see like how that happened, and it was really just then.
What about like abroad,
happening.
like in other countries, like what's their abortion?
There are some countries that have phenomenal abortion care, like Japan, or there's a conference that I was looking at going in Berlin because they have some pretty incredible healthcare systems that I feel like America could learn a lot from.
Also, we're seeing like a lot of responses from other countries since our decision, like France making sure it's enshrined in their constitution because of what they saw happen here.
It's good to know. It's good to know what other people are doing. What else you got in there? You're looking for? Give us a crazy one.
So let's talk about the Forging Pueblo Mayoral Forum.
Oh yeah.
Do you feel like your values align with Forging Pueblo's?
I had never heard of them up until that. They didn't tell me that there was a debate up until like 3 days before, maybe like 4. But they sent me like this packet like to fill out. I didn't fill it out. I just read it online and spoke about it, and then they used that. But no, not at all. Like it was a church for a mayor debate. You know, that was already like a red flag.
Right.
They were like, the first question everyone asked me was like, "Do you believe in God?" Well, I do believe in God.
Right.
Hopefully there's a heaven. Like I would love to go to heaven and chill with all my dead relatives and dead pets. That'd be cool.
Right.
But no, yeah, I don't think they do. But it's my first time doing anything like that.
Right.
So, you know, my eagerness and kind of like being a novice was kind of showing. But I think, like I said, it's refreshing. Everyone else in there was singing the same song. You know, I was changing it up, and I think people enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah, because 2 people you've been involved with, like Counselor Maestri and Forging Pueblo, have been some of the most anti-choice people we've, like, our obstacles almost.
Oh, wow.
And so we were a little bit worried.
Oh, yeah, no. It's funny. They're the ones to reach out.
Yeah.
You know, and you guys also reached out. So, like.
Yeah. You said that you were going to donate 3/4 of your mayoral salary to scholarships and community grants. Have you created these scholarships, or do you plan to just like give to them? What did you mean by that?
Well, first we lose a bunch of graduates from high school and college, like to Springs and Denver. So we need to give them grants to make them want to start their small businesses here instead of feeling the need to go out there. So if we give them like a startup, $5,000, that could get any business. If $5,000 would change, my small business tremendously right now. I'm sure you guys all have ventures that you guys could use some money for. Like
this is our venture.
Yeah, exactly. Like $5,000 would change your organization right now. Just to spend it any way you want, and doing small stuff. What we think is small, but in reality means the world to someone. That hey, my city like saw this in me, so I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna tough it out. Because we're fighting an uphill battle right now, to in our own state, just as we don't think like, oh, you're from Pueblo, you know. That's what people say. Oh, you're from Pueblo.
All the time.
Yeah,
Right.
Or they apologize.
yeah. So
And
when,
that infuriates me.
but once once we start invigorating, small business, we already have like a beautiful artist scene, so we could really be known for that. And it just takes a little bit of investing from the city, and I'll be the first one to do it. The mayor makes $150,000 a year, which in reality, I was told Mayor Gradishar made that number, and
He confirmed it with me on the phone.
yeah, it's a lot of money, and I
Life changing.
yeah, I could live. I live right now like on probably like $20,000 a year, so like I could live comfortably on something like that, and I know I could change people's lives
Right.
just by doing stuff like
We
that.
need people like that. That's exactly
Yeah.
what we do. We throw ourselves 100% into it because we do just want to help.
Do you have any plans on addressing how the city would distribute its funds, maybe to help smaller businesses or students, or do you see anything that's an issue now?
I'm not informed of how the city is like donating to small businesses right now. One of the big sponsors we have is Big Bear. They're the largest distributor of alcohol and beer in southern Colorado. So he tells me, his plights with it. I know that Pueblo is going to get like an $8 million riverboat that I guess is gonna have a restaurant on it and something like that, but it's gonna have offices that people are gonna rent. I'm not really sure the exact idea. I'm sure you guys
The
know about that?
gondola. Is that what it is?
Yeah, but it's like
Like
huge.
a boathouse.
Yeah, it's a boathouse.
Yeah.
It's like $8 million, I guess. So maybe that's not the best idea,
Right.
but maybe it's a good idea like for future businesses, if kind of like the Fuel and Iron Hall. Like they have 6 businesses in and out. They're going to be changing, I guess. That's invigorating these food trucks to get their first brick and mortar, and then they're going to branch off and do something else, hopefully. So if that's the idea with the riverboat, like I don't know,
Yeah.
but
I feel like they could work on empowering the current community before they move to try to attract more people here. I
Yeah.
think that's a huge part of it, especially with like what we saw with like Fuel and Iron. It's local, and that's what people like. Like we want to support locals, so put money into those and show other people that they can have local businesses here and make them want to come do that.
I love Fuel and Iron. I go there
Yeah.
probably once a week.
I really.
Talked to the general manager. She was telling me a little bit about their hiring process there. So what they do is they hire students, culinary students.
Oh.
And there's actually, I believe, she said there's like a grant or something, so the students get paid that way on top of their wages.
Wow.
So they're actually making livable wage. They do offer the housing on top. Like the Fuel and Iron has done so much for the community and for young, I can't say that word,
Entrepreneurs.
Yeah, getting off the ground. Culinary students starting off as a line cook or a dishwasher, and then moving up and getting that experience. It's so important.
Yeah, I agree. You looked at me like I should have just continued that.
No.
Okay.
I want to highlight something you said here because I really think it's important that we do, because we're a reproductive justice organization. But you said what's going to change Pueblo is when we have young, educated people of color that are going to want to stay here. We need to make that a viable option.
Yeah.
I love that. I agree.
We want them to stay here and raise their families here and put into the community the same way that we are.
Yeah. I second that. Still.
Yeah, you said that, and we appreciate it.
Yeah.
That is a repro justice stance right there.
This guy.
Yeah. I honestly haven't listened to the song. I don't know. I just know that everyone's talking about it.
I didn't even know who that person was until I saw it all over TikTok, and I still haven't listened to it. I really looked into it. Like,
feel like
I don't
he's
like
pretty
country
famous.
music, so.
That's fair. That's fair.
I just want to say, the only thing I want to say about that is you don't delete things that you aren't guilty for.
Oh, he deleted the song?
He deleted parts of the video
Oh.
and things like that. So I don't think guilty people do that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Right. Or Yeah.
I usually agree with Sydney,
people, yeah.
so.
Let's talk about marijuana.
Let's do it.
So at the Forging Pueblo, I understand the situation you were in there, because I can't imagine walking into that blindsided, honestly, like that 3 days
Terrifying.
before. But we would like to have a more open conversation about it. There you said that it's a two-sided coin with marijuana, and that we really just need to keep an eye on where the tax money is going, which I really appreciate. I agree with that point. They told us that the tax money would be going towards schools and all of this, and I want to see it.
I guess it's illegal for it to go to schools. That's what I was told.
Oh, then they shouldn't have led with that.
Yeah, you can't donate like marijuana funds to schools,
Right.
Because then they just, I don't know, I forget the exact naming of it, but you can't do it.
Right. But you also said that we need to be monitoring access with the youth. So could you just talk about more like your stances on marijuana,
Well,
and everything like that?
I mean, like I'm pro marijuana. Everyone on the debate was saying that marijuana is a gateway drug for all these homeless people. That they see that there's the legal marijuana here, and then they get introduced to they think fentanyl is the main issue. I mean, obviously it is, but
It was a hard watch.
yeah, I don't think marijuana is leading people to try fentanyl. But yeah, I'm pro marijuana. I think we just have to be more diligent with the money, and yeah, with as far as the children go, yeah, I don't want like a bunch of little kids smoking weed, but
Period.
it's in everyone's house now, so it just makes it more accessible.
Right.
Like mom and dad just have little gummies in their side drawer,
Right.
Period.
So. All right, this one's a spicy question.
Oh.
Do you believe in the separation of church and state?
Yes.
Okay, then why did you say this?
You gotta look at where I was. Also, I was very nervous. Like I was.
This was a tough comment to digest.
I said keep God in schools. I said.
I'll read everything.
Okay.
So, when you were asking about standing for the pledge and the prayer, your answer was, "In God we trust." I think we need to start younger. We need to keep it in the schools. Christians are known for being forgiving, being kind. We need to live that in our day-to-day lives. We need to have that in our government. If our leaders aren't living a good life that a good Christian person would live, then they're probably not treating their community with the light that Jesus Christ would have wanted. I think we should leave it how it is. In God we trust. As a nation, we're built on that, and that's what keeps us strong.
I think the morals, kindness and forgiveness, that's a great moral to live your life on.
Agreed.
If people in the government were more kind and more willing to, I guess forgive is not really the right word for it, but just more kind, then we wouldn't have.
And I'm by no means attacking your Christianity or anything that. I really just want to know more about starting younger, in schools, and keeping it in the government, especially when there is that separation of church and state. So that's really what I was addressing.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, don't go overboard with it, but I think just having the emphasis on there's good moral pillars in religion. It's like faith, strength, persistence, believing in something. It's all going to be okay in the end. It's just it's comforting, and it's a scary time to live right now. People are going through so much doubt every day, and the pillars are there. I'm not saying go extreme with it, but I want a community that's more kind and more forgiving, and everyone's nice to each other.
That has those values.
Yeah.
I think we can do that without religion. Do you think an atheist would make a bad elected official because they don't have religion?
I think if they're an atheist, I would like my elected official to have kids. I want them to have a stake, not just for themselves, because it's easy to get wrapped up in this. This is all about me and my generation. In reality, you're gonna be gone here soon. So we need to have some sort of foot I'm setting the ground rules for the future oncomers. You know, it's easy to just say it's all about me.
So I raise my kids without religion, and I teach them to be kind and respectful and loving.
Mm-hmm.
And they know about religion. It's their choice if they want to believe or not. But I think it's just how we raise our children. I don't think we need to bring religion into it. I definitely do not think religion needs to be in schools, especially because we're saying religion, but what we're talking about is Christian.
Yeah.
And not everyone is Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it needs to stay out of schools. It needs to stay out of the government. And people should just be kind because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it just needs to be respectful both ways. Like, I can respect your freedom of religion as long as you respect my freedom from religion.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that's that equal give and take I don't think we're seeing in our government lately.
I feel like there's a lot of conversation about, like, organized religion and the way that it's being organized and what the motives are behind it. There's a big rise of Christian nationalism in this whole country, and it is terrifying to watch. And it's hard to tell when someone is just about their faith and when they're about control.
And we have so many conversations, and especially around the time of the ordinance, one really stands out to me in particular, but a woman who was the opposition, but she came up and talked to us, and she really seemed like she understood where we were also coming from. And so I think it all kind of ties into each other, like I'll respect your choices as long as you respect mine.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I would hope everyone lives their lives.
Yeah.
So
You would hope.
Yeah. But as far as the rest of that comment goes, you know, like I said previously, like I was nervous. I've never done anything like that before, and it was a huge church. The crosses were like 10 feet tall. Like, it was huge. There was two right next to me. You know, so it's hard, and everyone in the room was 60 plus. So it's hard to get these, like, really, you know, minute details where I could explain this, you know, in this long form, in this 3-hour conversation we're gonna have. But to bring this down to 2 minutes, it's impossible to let you know that I'm. It's impossible to let you know every way I'm feeling about religion in 2 minutes.
No,
Right.
that's so
Yeah.
fair. And we have like lots of groups who are religious and pro-choice. Like, it is very intersectional in so many different ways for so many different people, and maybe it's not for us to understand all the time, you know, like maybe you can explain it and that's perfectly fine, but we're still going to respect you for having that point of view.
There are also lots of people who are religious that are pro-choice. It is it's a community, and we have to remind people that it's about human rights, and you can believe whatever you want to believe, but at the end of the day, we shouldn't be restricting people based off of someone's religion.
Mm-hmm.
I work a lot with Catholics for Choice, and like 1 out of every 4 people that have had an abortion is Catholic.
Wow.
And that is a national statistic that they have all of the research on, and I can send it to you if you want.
So I was raised Catholic. My grandparents are both very religious, but my grandma is very pro-choice, and she's actually like, they're the ones who taught me about feminism and, you know, activism and stuff. So, like I said, I'm not against religion. Like Sydney had said, freedom of religion and freedom from religion.
Right. And I think what we really are getting, like, away from is we're talking about, like, extremist Christian nationalism at this point, where we're seeing it hurt people by banning abortion,
Or
by
gender-affirming care.
Right. We're seeing that hurt communities. And I don't think anybody, no matter what you believe in, wants to see people hurt like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's, like, really what we're trying to get at. Like, we talk to lots of people. We are a nonpartisan organization and group who are Republican and pro-choice, and, you know, who are independent and pro-choice. And it really is just, it's not political. It is a human right.
Yeah, I agree. Um, yeah, that was a long quote. I like that. But yeah, I will stand on that. The pillars of life. You know, you're raising your children with those pillars. Like that's amazing. And having children, it makes you, it makes you realize like this. I'm not going to be here forever, and I need to set these young people up so they could have the best successful life that I could leave for them. And
yeah. That's a repro justice standpoint.
Yeah.
Welcome, brother.
Okay, that's it. All
No,
my hard-hitting questions.
I have another one.
Ooh.
When you are in front of audiences that you're unfamiliar with, how do we know that you're going to stand firm in these same beliefs no matter who you're talking to? 'Cause it seems like you get along with us really well and you agree with what we're saying, but we watched the Forging Pueblo interview and that's not what we saw.
I was pro choice.
I know. Not just pro-choice, though. Just like, I guess it's hard with the time constraints, but have you considered, like, having some strong talking points that you stick with all the time so it doesn't seem like you're shifty?
Well, it's not that I'm shifty. It's that when you present me with new information, I have the freedom to be like, oh man, this new information is really eye-opening, and I can have a difference of opinion. I don't think it's being shifty. It's being like I'm a person. I don't know it all. I'm never going to claim to know it all, and you know that's why we have this conversation so you guys can teach me things. And yeah, you know, it's not that I'm shifting. It's I'm being presented with information.
As it seems.
Yeah. No, I'm not, but
also we appreciate people who are willing to get in and get your hands dirty and like talk with us about the problems, because we're never going to fix anything unless we actually talk to people about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these conversations are so important, and I asked some really menacing questions today, and you're a really good sport.
They weren't that bad.
I think more people need to be having conversations like this. Like, you're with your group of friends, you know, don't talk about you can still talk about Taylor Swift era concert or the Barbie movie, but have these conversations. More people need to be, I don't want to say involved, but educated on politics and who's running and their stances, because that's what's going to make a change.
And be willing to, like, call your friends out. Sometimes they just don't know.
Yeah, and relearning is so hard. Like, I do want to put that in there. Like, I've been relearning, and my significant other has been relearning, and it's a really hard process. But once you get through it, like, you're really a better person at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you were talking about the diversity training. Like, I went to diversity training in college, and that really opened my eyes, just to everything.
So what did you go to college for?
Business marketing and graphic design.
Heck yeah.
It was.
Using that degree.
Yeah, I feel like it's really undersold. Like, nobody really talks, like, especially, like, when I was watching, like, the debate, like, no one really talked about, you know.
Well, they went to college 50 years ago, you know?
Right.
So, like, it's...
When it was $200.
Yeah, it's hard for them to relate.
A dream.
When it was free.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I could see why they didn't bring it up, because they probably can't, like, remember what it was like to be, you know, like, up and coming and not having it all figured out, and you know, but wanting to do something. I don't know.
A lot of people can't afford to get involved in politics until they retire.
Yeah, I haven't paid any money into anything. It's free to run for mayor. The paperwork's like not that crazy. But yeah, I've free campaign so far. I feel like I have a fighting chance. I know I'm going to win. Come January, be inaugurated or whatever it's called.
Yeah. That was some really good advice. I think that's, like, one of the good things Regina told you, is not to say, like, if I win, but, like, when I win. I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, you guys have had you guys' problems with your organization with her, but she's one of the ones that's reached out, and she's always been constructive, like, really nice. She wants to come on, like, but, you know,
right.
You could change up.
No, yeah, we definitely don't know her personally, only from the work we do, and unfortunately what we saw and what we continue to see is a bad side to that, but...
Mm-hmm.
That's Pueblo for you, though.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to get off your chests?
No, I'm actually done grilling you. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah. Let me drink some water.
Yeah.
I was like nervously drinking this whole time.
I know.
No, it's cotton mouth. But so with the whole candidacy thing, are you guys reaching out to any other candidates? I don't think any of them align with you guys. If I'm like,
so here's a big thing, and I'm gonna say this out of my mouth. Like, if you were misogynistic in any way during the race that we were holding, we really don't have much interest in having conversations with you. But we are willing to. Just it won't be as personal as this. And I think that's a struggle we find because it is on both sides. Like, and not a lot of people talk about the misogyny and the racism, even from older people who claim to be on our side. So we don't really know yet. We have a few people in mind, but we're not sure.
We have talked on our C4 side of developing an endorsement process, but it's not something that we have quite mastered yet. We're still taking some notes from some people and kind of learning our way before we put something out there. But we do plan on like allowing people to reach out to us if they want an endorsement from Pueblo Pro Choice.
Yeah.
I think we just fell on a unique opportunity here where you have a podcast and collaborated with us.
yeah, you guys are always welcome here.
And you're so open. Like, we haven't seen some of the like fake put together appearances from you, so we were like, okay, we can have these conversations without feeling like we're going to take repercussions or like get some crazy backlash.
Yeah, no, the community's really enjoyed. They've been really receptive to the whole podcast. Been doing it for like 2 years now. We just hit 3,000 subs last night.
What made you
Congratulations.
want to
Thank you.
start a podcast?
Well, I went to college. I graduated 2019 December, right into COVID of 2020. I was working at a high school tutoring at-risk students. Like, some of my students, like, their parents got deported. They brought guns to school, like stuff like that.
Right.
So I lost my job. So I moved back. I was doing graphic design for that country music festival. Bands in the Backyard.
Yeah.
I did the last one ever. Tommy Jidone died.
Right.
So I did the last one, and then I was out of. Like, I kind of quit, but also like kind of got fired. He was like, "I'm not going to pay you for the last," because I did designs every single day, and they were like, "We didn't use a bunch of these." I was like, "Well, I don't care. You still got to pay me." They didn't want to pay me, so I got fired.
If the shoe fits, and it fits.
But yeah, I got fired, so I had a bunch of spare time on my hands, and then I started this. And I was the best. Quitting / getting fired was the best thing that ever happened to my life.
I love that. Sometimes that is. It's so hard.
Leads you on a new path sometimes.
Yeah.
Now here we are.
Here we are.
What else? What else we got? You guys will be back next Friday. Bring the.
Yeah, we'll get a period
I
cramp
love
simulator.
that. And then I'm going to ask you questions about like how much you know about like reproductive organs.
That's funny.
Yeah.
There's
I
gonna be a
think
bunch of
it'll
people that are gonna want to try.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We'll smoke though, so you can at least
Yeah.
feel a little bit
Oh, you'll
better.
feel so much more if you smoke.
Oh no!
Oh, maybe not.
It's like smoking
Take a
before
shot.
a
I
tattoo.
want to like put it on my head. But yeah, all right. You guys want to tell people where they can follow you?
Yeah. You can follow us. We have a website at www.puebloprochoice.com. All of our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, are at Pueblo Pro Choice. Do you guys have any closing statements?
No, thank you for having us on.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
We really appreciate you giving us the space to kind of talk about some shit and get into it.
Yeah, we could always talk about some shit here.
And I look forward to the period simulator.
It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. If anyone else wants to do it too, like, we're down. I'll bring alcohol to like wipe it off.
Oh,
and make
nice.
Sure that
Oh,
it's-
we're not worried about germs. You know.
Okay.
Well, they get less sticky
Yeah.
Oh, they get less sticky with the more people use it.
with the skin.
Oh,
Yeah, but if you wipe them down, it's okay.
all right. Respect. We'll try it out. All right, guys. Street Champs.